Hey everyone, Chavo Gamer here, and welcome back to another episode of our brand new Universe Mode. This is season number 2. If you've not seen my update video, basically I've had to take up a reduced schedule on this due to a change in my work life. So we're going to go for just 2 weekly shows a week. I have already uploaded the first episode of season 2 of Ring of Honor, and this is a brand new Universe Mode we're going to take on. This is Lucha Underground. So tonight is our first episode. We've got some feuds on the go. Let's have a look at what we've got. We're going to start things off with Davari taking on John Morrison, or Johnny Mundo if you will. Then we're going to see Joey Ryan taking on Pentagon Jr. PJ Black takes on Willie Mack. That rhymes. Just realised that. Drago takes on Chavo Guerrero Jr. And our main event sees Big Rick taking on Brian Cage. So without further ado, let's get straight into that opening match of the evening. And here is that first match. Like I said, it's going to be Davari taking on Johnny Mundo. And here we go. So there's a chance for me to use this Lucha Underground arena, which I do like. Of course, it's not very 100% realistic because they haven't got the arena size down, but it's a pretty good arena. I think it could work if Lucha Underground got a bit bigger, which I'm sure it probably will do at some point. Here, of course, is Davari. Somebody who came into Lucha Underground to middle of season number 1. It was a pretty good signing for them, actually. I must admit, when I first saw him sat in the crowd, I thought this is not going to work out very well, but he actually did quite well over there. Probably some of the best work I've seen him do. He really did well at picking up heat. And yeah, I quite like him, actually. I'm going to see how he gets on here against... I've forgotten this match as well. Johnny Mundo, that's what it is. It's a pretty good feud to start off our Lucha Underground career with as well. Johnny Mundo, obviously one of the top guys in Lucha Underground in season number 1, and I know he's probably going to do pretty well again in season number 2 as well. Yeah, so it'll be pretty interesting to see. Quick bit of random trivia for you. That big mark in the middle of the ring is it's part of the Mayan calendar, I believe. It's the centre part of the Mayan calendar, and I actually have that tattoo on my arm. I think I've mentioned that before, haven't I? But yeah, that's obviously my tattoo's a lot more detailed than that, but God, how bad would Lucha Underground be if those 3 were sat ringside? It would be absolutely awful. I can't stand the WWE commentary team at the moment. I have to watch a lot of stuff on mute, maybe because JBL just does my head in. He contradicts himself so much, and Michael Cole is just absolutely dire. Right, and here comes Davari's opponent here. It's Johnny Mundo, or John, as the... I don't know why it says just John for. That's a bit annoying. Probably because they couldn't fit Morrison in. Right, I'm going to make sure I fix that as well then. So I've got a nice little list of things I've got writing down. Nice little list of things I've got written down beside my desk to get sorted and fix as we go along. Of course, Morrison will be working some other shows as well. Not quite sure which ones yet. I'm thinking... he has debuted. Does he debut for Pro Wrestling Guerrilo? I seem to recall him having the odd appearance. He's not been a mainstay like a lot of the other guys, so I'm not quite sure if we'll use him in ours. But I don't know. I know he gets a lot of work around here and there. Of course, I think the main indies. I'll definitely be doing a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show every month because I'm a massive fan of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. They're my favourite show. What else is there? So we're going to do Evolve. And the Evolve, what we're going to do with the Evolve is we're going to do them in probably 2s or 3s, because that's what they do in real life. The Evolve never just get together and have a one-off pay-per-view. They get together and do sort of 3 nights worth of shows, then they don't do anything for a couple of months, they come back and do another 3 nights worth of shows. So that's what we'll do. We'll do them in chunks like that as well. That's going to be next weekend's pay-per-view. Like I said, we are going to do the Shikara King of Trios as well. That's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be an interesting one, that, because we are going to probably... have some very interesting teams. There might be some ones in there that might surprise you. I've tried to use as many different people as I could, because when Shikara do the King of Trios, that's what they do. They try and bring teams from out and about the world. This year they had a couple of teams across from England. They had a AAA team, which was Drago, Phoenix, and somebody else. Aerostar, I think it was. They also had Bullet Club, AJ Styles and the Young Bucks. There are quite a few out the box teams. And that's what we're going to do. And I don't want to give you any spoilers at the moment, but I will say there are going to be a couple of legends in there, at least a couple of legends. I've got some ideas for that one, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. I'm thinking I might upload a couple of videos beforehand, just showcasing the teams, and then maybe even doing a draw. Not quite sure yet on that one, but we'll definitely do a couple of videos just to showcase the teams that are going to be involved. And Davari doing very well here to start things off. Of course, we're not going to crown any of our champions this evening. We are going to crown 3 champions all together in Lucha Underground. We're going to have, of course, the Lucha Underground champion. Got the Gift of the Gods champion. And then, of course, we're going to have the... Well, in Lucha Underground, it's the Trios champion, but you can't have Trios champions on there in this game, so we can have it as a tag team. Not many tag teams on this brand at the moment. I've only got 3, I think. I've got set up the Sky Blondes, Angelico and Jack Evans, of course, the team from AAA. I've got the team of Los Cazadores, which is one I put together, which is King Cuerno and Killshot. And then I've got the team of the Mack and Big Rick. So those are the 3 teams I've got at the moment. I might try and have to forge some teams as we go along, just to try and keep that fresh. But I think that's easy enough to do. I think we'll can stick together like Bengala and Aerostar for a little bit of time, maybe, or Son of Havoc and somebody. So we'll definitely we'll find one way of doing it. There's a Death Valley driver there for Davari. Into the pin he goes. It's only enough for a 2 count. And this is a pretty good core of Davari as well, I must say. It's a very good face, and I've noticed I've downloaded quite a few cores over the last few days, just to try and really boost up the amount of indie guys we have on these rosters. And there are some cracking ones out there now. And Davari looking to get this announce table involved. There he is, stripping the top off now, taking the monitors. I'm not quite sure he's realised that Morrison's right behind him now. He has now, as Morrison catches him with that right hand. So one thing I did mention beforehand in the update, the channel update, is that Lucha Underground is going to have no pay-per-views. Everything's going to be done weekly, just like they do in real life. So we might come through to 1 week where we have a 7-match show, just in treating it as a special. But all championship matches will all take place on the weekly show. Yeah, we'll just keep the Sundays free for other pay-per-views. And the best thing about doing that is that feuds, it's stupid. If there's no pay-per-views, then feuds can take effect at any point in time, which is fantastic. Why can't the game let us do that when you've got pay-per-views? I don't know. It likes to start it fresh and finish at a pay-per-view, which makes sense, but if I want to start a feud with 6 weeks until the next pay-per-view, then I should be able to set up a 6-week feud. That makes sense to me. Davari now stalking Morrison, and there's the big dive, taking Morrison out. Big move by Davari, who's really dominated this match until now. Big, great victory for Davari. Like I said, we'll start to crown some champions coming up pretty soon. I was going to try and crown 1 champion this evening, but since we've got rivalry matches in the 4th and 5th match slot, I didn't really want to have a championship match in the 2nd or 3rd. So I've just sort of done it at the moment, just so we can really just have a look at the roster, see who's on there, see if anyone can really impress, and if they do, maybe give them the opportunity for the championship. Of course, we do have people on the roster such as Prince Puma, Mil Muertes, Drago, Phoenix, Aerostar, we've got Bengala, and we've got Hernandez. We've got all the people that are currently at the top end of Lucha Underground, and a few people who have debuted for Lucha Underground for the 2nd season. Of course, that's not been televised as yet. We've got people like Joey Ryan, people like PJ Black as well, and people like Rey Mysterio is also on the roster. So all of those people have debuted for Lucha Underground in season number 2. I've just given away loads of spoilers there, haven't I? I apologise if you didn't know that when you were annoyed. And I think Lucha Underground have been advertising that, and Davari picks up the victory here over John Morrison. Great win for Davari. I was not expecting that. Was not expecting that at all, but like I said, it's a fantastic win for him. There's a tornado DDT earlier on in the match. In for the pin he went. Of course, it was not enough for a 3 count at that point in time. Big kick to the back of John Morrison now. Brought him back up to his feet again. And this is where he caught him with a Death Valley driver. Big move. But again, that was not enough to keep John Morrison down for the 3 count. And then he really just dominated this match the whole way through. I'm surprised Morrison just sort of let him win so easily. Yeah, Davari just really dominated the whole way through. There's the enough for a free count for Davari, and of course this is one of the feuds we're going to be going with for the next 5 weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out and whether John Morrison can get back into this one, because he got really dominated here this evening by Davari. He won't be happy with that at all. I'm sure he'll be looking to come back all guns blazing next week. And here is a quick look at the rivalry update. As you can see, there's no headline to the rivalry update, but that victory has given Davari a momentum boost. He's become slightly more egotistical and cowardly. I'm not sure which way then go up or down. I'm not sure, to tell the truth. John Morrison's now on a cold streak. He's become more prideful, respectful and bold from that loss. But yeah, being on a cold streak is not good for him at all. That's going to make Davari a lot stronger going forward. And here is match number 2 of the evening. It's going to be Joey Ryan taking on Pentagon Jr. Like I said earlier, Joey Ryan is one of the guys that has debuted in Lucha Underground for season number 2. So yeah, we're going to use him in this as well. Let's see how he gets on against one of the fan favourites over in Lucha Underground, Pentagon Jr. And here we go. I must admit, this is the first time I've even seen this Joey Ryan call. I've downloaded him, I've not used him. So, oh no, we did use him in the channel update, but I've not seen his entrances yet. We just put him straight into the match. Let's see how he gets on in this one. He's looking pretty decent. It's not the, I don't think it's the greatest core in the world, but it's a pretty good Joey Ryan. He's a very, very important person to have ready for the old Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. That's the word I'm looking for. The PWG roster. We're going to use that quite a lot. Like I said, it's my favourite company, PWG, so we'll be sure to do at least 1 or 2 pay-per-views of them every single month. So yeah, it was very important we got a hold of Joey Ryan. It's a shame that you can't do mixed tag matches on this game anymore, because obviously Joey Ryan is the tag team champion, well, was the tag team champion alongside Candice LeRae in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and a few other companies up and down America as well. So it's a bit of a shame we can't do that. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do, because I really like Candice LeRae. I think she's a fantastic wrestler, but like I say, you can't have mixed matches on the game either, so I'm not sure whether to download or not. I've not got download at the moment. But yeah, let's see how Joey Ryan gets on against arguably the MVP of season number 1 of Lucha Underground. Of course, that was Pentagon Jr. Oh, and if you are watching this on the Thursday, once it's uploaded, I'm probably going to get this uploaded Thursday morning. Be aware that Lucha Underground will actually be on Thursday evening in America. I'm in the UK, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to watch it. I think last year it was put on Daily Motion, I believe, something like that. So, because there's no way of viewing it in the UK, I don't believe. So, I'll be trying to view it wherever I can. It's going to be fantastic. It always is. I have read a few spoilers. I'm going to try not to spoil it as much as I can for you guys. I do believe this man is going to play a very large part once again, though, in season number 2. And Pentagon Jr. again is one of the guys that we'll use in quite a few of our rosters. Since Lucha Underground was on this year, guys like Pentagon Jr. especially have been getting a lot more indie dates in America. So he's worked a few Pro Wrestling Guerrilla shows. He's worked, I think he worked Shikara's King of Trios, so we'll be looking to maybe do that as well. I believe he worked a show recently against Chris Hero. It was him versus Chris Hero in the main event, and I believe that was an absolutely fantastic match. So we'll be looking to try and recreate that at some point as well. But yeah, it's something that I'm definitely going to use a lot of, Pentagon Jr. And we'll probably use them a lot more in some more of our random matches as well. So far this week, random matches have been very much taken up by the new signings for WWE. So we've done a few AJ Styles matches, some Kenny Omega matches, because Kenny Omega is going to be taking AJ Styles' place over in New Japan as the leader of Bullet Club. We've done some pretty interesting stuff actually in the random matches. So have an eye on that playlist if you're interested in that sort of thing. And we'll see how these two guys get on now. So like I say, both these guys are probably working Pro Wrestling Guerrilla as well. And I'm pretty sure they'll both be over for the King of Trios for Shikara later on in the month. I'm worried about the King of Trios because 6-man tag matches is not 2K16 strong point. I'll say that right now, it's not their strong point at all. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that. We're going to have, I don't know yet. I've got it in my mind, 16 trios. So of course that's 8 first round matches, 4 second round, or 4 quarter-final matches, 2 semi-finals and a final. I think if I split that across a few days, so maybe if I do, I would have to do it though. It's going to be difficult. I might have to do a 4-day pay-per-view. Might have to do 4 first round matches on night number 1, 4 first round matches on night number 2, all the quarterfinals on night number 3, and then the semi-finals and the final on night number 4. So that might be what we have to do, but I think it's probably the best way, because if we try and do too many 6-man tag matches in one evening, it's going to become very, very difficult, because like I said, there's just so many. It's so difficult for people to win a 6-man tag match, as I've found in the past. I've had some 6-man tag matches that have lasted over an hour and on quick momentum. I couldn't believe my eyes. And Joey Ryan so far doing very well here against Pentagon Jr. We know that Pentagon is a, like I said, he's a very, very dangerous wrestler. In my opinion, like I said, the MVP of season number 1 of the Lucha Underground. Big right hand there by Pentagon Jr. Andre Ryan. And it'd be very interesting in the next match as well to see the Mack, or of course Willie Mack from PWG, taking on, what's his name? PJ Black. Of course, Justin Gabriel he used to be. Of course, Justin Gabriel worked a few shows now for TNA. So obviously that whole thing with TNA is finished now, because Lucha Underground do lock you into contracts. That was the whole situation with Hernandez last year, between Lucha Underground and TNA, where TNA had to bin loads and loads of footage that they've recorded of Hernandez as part of part of that dodgy faction. What was that called? What was that dodgy faction called? The Beatdown Clan. Yeah, TNA had recorded loads of stuff with Hernandez as part of the Beatdown Clan. They had to get rid of it all because Lucha Underground said that Hernandez was under contract, which he was. He was completely under contract. So a few issues there between Lucha Underground and TNA. So probably the same thing's going to happen with PJ Black. He must have completely finished up with his TNA stuff now. I don't think he was officially working with TNA anyway. I think it was just all part of the. I think it was all part of the Global Force Wrestling deal. Pentagon there with a great German suplex. Bringing Joey Ryan back up to his feet. And we're gonna I think he's going to go for a dragon suplex, but lifts Joey Ryan up and drops him across his knees in that gut buster. Is that going to be enough to finish this match off? 1, 2. Enough for a 2 count. Still some life left in Joey Ryan yet. And yeah, like I say, so I've got my cards laid down here. I just yeah, I've sort of wrote some matches out that we could have at our PWG event. Of course, we do have Joey Ryan involved. Got some interesting matches for Joey Ryan actually. Well, he's only involved in night number 2 at the moment. I think I might change these cards. But I've got some really good matches. Matches that won't change. I'm looking to do a PWG Fatal 4-Way match for the championship. Basically in that match, Joey Ryan with a powerbomb now over the top of the bridge. And Joey Ryan's got the victory here over Pentagon Jr. Well done, Joey Ryan, and not a victory we expected him to get here. Let's say Pentagon Jr. was the MVP of Season 1 of Lucha Underground, and I thought he'd do pretty well here. But good old Joey Ryan really pulling it out of the bag. There's a pedigree there as well. Yes, we're looking to do a Fatal 4-Way Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Championship match. Basically what I've done is I've taken the last 4 champions from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla that are not currently signed to WWE. That's an important part. So we've got Roderick Strong, who's the current champion, Kyle O'Reilly, the previous champion, Adam Cole, the champion before him, and then the champions before him were Kevin Steen, El Generico, and Claudio Castagnoli. Then went back all the way to Davey Richards. So that'd be the Fatal 4-Way match: Strong versus O'Reilly versus Adam Cole versus Davey Richards in a Fatal 4-Way match for the PWG Championship. That'll probably take place on night number 1. And then on night number 2, I've got that champion down to defend against somebody who wins a #1 contendership match on night number 1, which at the moment I've got that down as Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. So we'll confirm it as we get a bit later in, but those are some of the matches I've got. I've also got Trevor Lee down to face off against Pentagon Jr. How cool of a match does that sound? And on night number 2, I've got Trevor Lee taking on Sami Callihan in a Guerrilla Warfare match. So we've got some cracking matches set for you at PWG this week. Like I said, that's just what I've got penciled in, so matches might change by the weekend. But yeah, it's looking pretty damn good. And I hope to see you there as well. But we've still got a few matches left here this evening. Let's get into our next one. And here we go at match number 3 of the evening. It's going to be PJ Black taking on Willie Mack. And I think I'm going to struggle with this one. I really do. I think I'm going to get very confused in my words and mix up their names quite a bit with PJ Black and Willie Mack. I'm going to get PJ Mack and Willie Black. I know I am. And oh god, it's going to be terrible for me. But let's see how we get on. This is the second time I've tried this one now because we had a bit of a crash in the game. Good old game, this one, isn't it? You have a bit of a crash and it's completely wiped our card as well. So it's also wiped our rivalries, which is very handy. Well done to 2K again once for that. So I have redone the card to where it was when we first started the show, and I've put the matches in, but they're not going to be classed as rivalry matches. The rivalry now restarts again next week. So yeah, we've still got the same matches in there. We're still going to have Drago taking on Chavo, Guerrero, and of course Cage taking on Big Rick in our main event. But let's see how this one gets on. And here we go. I'm sure this location thing doesn't work at all. I'm sure I've got this one set to only happen in Los Angeles. There you go, it's happening in Washington DC. So here's the entrance of PJ Black, of course, the former Justin Gabriel over in WWE. I think he left because they were... I think he asked to leave, to tell the truth, because I think there just wasn't a lot going on for him. I think WWE really need to bring back a... I think they really need to bring back a whatchamacallit, a Cruiserweight Championship, because at the moment, there's so many guys that would really be advantaged by having that. But at the moment, without it, it's just everyone's sort of in limbo. Like, if they had that championship, then guys like Kalisto, Sin Cara, Neville, even Sami Zayn, Tyler Breeze. There's loads of guys, even Heath Slater, could all be fighting out for that Cruiserweight Championship, and it does just give them a little bit more relevance. I don't know why WWE went on a sort of purge and they got rid of all their belts. The European Championship no longer exists, the Hardcore Championship no longer exists, the Cruiserweight Championship no longer exists. I think it was great just to give a bit more relevance every now and again. If you look at New Japan, one of the most successful sort of companies out there at the moment, they've got tons of championships. Here we go then with PJ Black versus Willie Mack. Let's see how this one gets on. Of course, Willie Mack was somebody who did debut in season number 1 of Lucha Underground, but halfway through teaming up with Shane Strickland, of course, Killshot, and Big Rick as part of that stable. And PJ Black is somebody who is going to debut in this season of Lucha Underground. So one of the new guys in there. That is technically not a spoiler because Lucha Underground have released that themselves. They've put it all on Twitter that PJ Black is coming. And I think he's going to be quite good, actually. I think he's going to be quite a... quite a good addition into that roster. I think Willie Mack is definitely going to have the strength advantage here. You'd think that PJ Black is going to have the speed advantage, but Willie Mack, for a man of his size, you'd be surprised just how quick and agile he can be. So it's going to be interesting. Of course, both these guys will be used in some of our other rosters as well, especially Willie Mack. Used to work a lot of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Not done as much over the last couple of years or so, but I'm sure we can bring him back in, use him quite a bit. I think it'd be quite handy to have him in there, actually, because we can really pull off some great matches. I'm really looking forward to doing our first PWG pay-per-views this weekend. Of course, we're going to be having PWG Lemmy on the Saturday and then PWG Bowie on the Sunday. Basically, 2 shows just to pay homage to a couple of great rock legends we've lost so far this year. And yeah, so there's a couple of shows that PWG are doing anyway. themselves. We're going to do that, and then probably next month we're going to do the DDT 4 competition, where we'll crown our first Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Tag Team Champions. Got a lot of tag teams this year, some brand new ones I've not used so far. Pinned there by PJ Black, only for a 2 count, but it was very, very close to a 3 count already. Big running drop kick there by Justin Gabriel. Now Gabriel going up top. Is he looking for the 450 already? Oh no, he went for the moonsault crossbody, but Willie Mack saw it coming and rolled out the way. Dragon through by Justin Gabriel now, bringing Willie Mack back up to his feet. But Mack is back there. Now I might end up using some different names for some of these guys, mainly because they're going to be used in several rosters at the same time. Of course, I'm calling obviously Willie Mack, but in Lucha Underground in real life they call him the Mack. A bit like Brian Cage. I've known him as Brian Cage for years watching PWG, but of course in Lucha Underground they call him Cage. So that might get a little bit, it won't get confusing, you know what I'm talking about. You guys know what's going on. Willie Mack now spinning PJ Black round into a Black Thunder Bomb, he calls that, believe it or not. Of course, that's the same move as Sami Zayn's. I think that's one of his signature moves, actually. I remember this funny little sequence on Pro Wrestling Guerrilla where it was a couple of times. I can't remember who. I think it may have been. I think it was Willie Mack and AR Fox. I think taking on Ricochet and Rich Swann. And yeah, Ricochet and Rich Swann had, of course, the tag team name as the Inner City Machine Guns. And AR Fox and Willie Mack were not happy about not having a team name, so they came up on the spot with the African American Wolves, which obviously got a big laugh from the crowd. Of course, the American Wolves currently Eddie Edwards and David Richards. Now Justin Gabriel is on top. Is he looking for that 450? He is, and he hits it as well very early on the match. Could this be all? Referee very, very slow down. 1, 2, and 3. And PJ Black does pick up a very quick early victory. So well done to PJ Black, really showing his dominance early on. And you know what? With that sort of dominance and that sort of quick victory, you'd have to put him down as one of the guys that should be looking at maybe an opportunity for the Lucha Underground Championship in the next few weeks. It was very, very impressive, that was, by Justin Gabriel, or PJ Black if you will. Dominated the majority of the match. Willie Mack didn't really get a lot of aggressiveness in. And yeah, that's interesting, that one. Here is the 450. Never hit smoothly on this game at all. Look at this 180 rotation in the middle of the air as well. And there is the 3 count. So PJ Black, definitely someone who we should be looking at for the championship over the next few weeks. Maybe even next week, who knows? We might do it next week, who knows? We could bust out a fatal 4-way, even a 6-man battle royal to crown our first champion. But yeah, let's see how it goes on. And here we are with match number 4 of the evening. Another crash later, and we've got Drago versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. And here we go. Hopefully this time we'll be able to get through to the end of the show without any more problems. That's the plan anyway. And yeah, it's a pretty good entrances for Drago. I have quickly checked it out. This is a new Drago compared to the one we had in season number 1. I thought the mask on this one looked a little bit better, and it's good to see they spent a bit of time working the entrance as well. And I knew, as soon as I saw Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with the wings on, I knew Drago cores this year were going to look a lot better. Look at that. He just looks so good. I think there's a little bit of work Ronnie's he's doing on the mask, but it's the mask shape that I think is the problem, and no, that's not something that the game has really allowed to get a different looking mask on there, to get the right shaped mask on there. I'm actually just Googling now while I'm chatting just to get a look at Drago's face. I don't think it looks too bad. You can tell it's Drago. Yeah, the mask in real life is a bit more... Oh, that's some pretty dodgy stuff. Actually, it does look pretty good, actually. Just the Drago mask in real life just has a bit more depth to it, a bit more texture to it. But apart from that, the actual attire and mask itself actually looks pretty good. And of course, he is facing off against the Mexican legend. That is Chavo Guerrero Jr. There he is. Can you call him a Mexican legend? I think if he wasn't part of the Guerrero family, I don't think he ever would have made it as big as what he is now. If that makes sense. I don't think, like I say, if he didn't have the Guerrero name, I don't think he ever would have made it to the level he is now. I think he's not a bad wrestler, but I don't think he's quite at the level of the rest of his family were. But still a very useful member of this roster. And we'll probably see him used here and there as well across some of the other rosters later into the game. We'll see how it goes, I suppose. But again, this is another rivalry match. Of course, like I said earlier on, the rivalries have bugged out a bit for us, so that's a bit of a problem. So this is not going to be a rivalry match now. The rivalry is going to start again next week because the game doesn't seem to want to play ball with me anymore. So this is just like a prelude for the rivalry that starts next week. We'll see if any of these two guys can really take control of the beginnings of this rivalry. Like I said, it doesn't really kick in till next week, but still gives you a good chance to pick up some momentum heading into that first rivalry match next week. Like I say, we might even look to try and crown our first champion next week as well. With a dominant victory earlier on from PJ Black, I'm thinking maybe he should be involved in that championship match somewhere. I'm starting to think that maybe the best way forward... I did want to do maybe a 10-man Royal Rumble for the championship. I'm not quite sure if you can do that or not on this game. I'll have to have a look. If you can do a 10-man Royal Rumble for the championship, that's what we'll do, I think. Maybe that could be the only match. The only problem is if we do a Royal Rumble, it has to take place in the Royal Rumble arena, which is a bit annoying. I would like to stick to the arena and the ring we've got. I don't know why the game is set like that. That's so annoying things. Why would you not let me change the arena for a Royal Rumble match? Why would you not let me change the arena for an Elimination Chamber match? Why, if it's something that people are going to want to do, why go out of your way to block someone doing it? It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't, but there you go. 2K logic. So I think the best way might be a 6-man over the top rope battle royal maybe on next week's show to crown our first Lucha Underground champion. Drago brings Guerrero back to his feet. Guerrero with that big elbow to the gut of Drago, but Drago spins Guerrero round. Drago with a couple of back elbows to break free once again. Big punch to the gut of Chavo. Just choking him out against that rope. Drago looking to continue the assault, now dropping an elbow onto the inside of the knee of Chavo Guerrero. Of course, Chavo played a heel for the majority of the first season of Lucha Underground. Like I said, I don't think he's really got enough behind him to be a fantastic face. I think he can only really play a heel. That's a really good move there by Drago. Yeah, I think he can play a really good heel, but I don't think he has what it takes to play a real good face. So I think that's the main reason why they do that. There's the green miss by Drago, one of his signature maneuvers. And now a jawbreaker, even more painful when you've got horns on the top of your mask. And now a big kick to the chest of Chavo as well, and Drago really dominating this match at this point in time. But now Chavo getting back into just pushing his knee into the face of Drago. Now as soon as Drago gets back up, Chavo catches him in a neck breaker. Chavo bringing Drago back up to his feet, catching him in the snapmare, and now looking to slow the pace of the match down, locks him in with his reverse chin lock. Drago slowly making his way back up to his feet. A couple of big elbows. Chavo throwing Drago against the ropes and brings him back into a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. One other guy we do have on the roster that I forgot to mention is Texano as well. So that should be quite interesting. See how he gets on. I think we might be involved in the Lucha Underground Championship match next week. Why not? As you see Chavo there with the trio of suplexes. Of course, homage to the fantastic wrestler that was his uncle Eddie Guerrero. Chavo now throwing Drago into the corner. I just realised, so I'm recording this on the Tuesday, I've just realised that that the downloadable content has just been released with Samoa Joe, Blake and Murphy and Los Matadors. So I'll have to do a couple of random matches over the next few days just to show you guys them. And of course that was the Tornado DDT between the middle and the bottom ropes. The OMG moment there by Chavo Guerrero on Drago. Just shows how good this roster. I love that. I love this roster. And I know Lucha Underground seemed to be a very hit or miss thing for a lot of people. You either loved it or you hated it, and I was one of the people that loved it. It's just a bit of a shame that I don't know why people didn't like it. I always thought it was fantastic. I thought the way it was done, the whole backstage thing, it was very much done in between wrestling and a movie. So I think it was a nice little difference. It's completely different to anything else that's out there at the moment. Chavo now on the outside. Is he looking for maybe a springboard? No, Drago makes way back up to his feet and Chavo thinks against it. And just slapping Drago, just showing disdain. Playing that heel character very well here, Chavo. Pulls Drago into the middle of the ring. Rolls away. What's he got planned? Dropping the elbow into the middle of the knee again. So Chavo just trying to weaken Drago down enough to potentially go for a frog splash at some point. Drago again with a mist. Can he capitalise on it? No, he just stands there and waits. That's a good mechanic there by the game. Chavo bringing Drago up onto his shoulders, locking him into a gory special. And then Drago just drops neck first across the middle rope as well. Chavo again bringing Drago back up to his feet and looking for them again. The trio of suplexes. Can he follow it up? Can he go for a pin maybe? Drago looks down and out here. Chavo pulling Drago away from the ring. I don't help myself with some of these matches, do I? PJ Black versus Willie Mack and Chavo versus Drago. 2. And no, Drago still manages to kick out. Chavo has Drago up on his shoulders, and there's the front Death Valley driver. Is that going to be enough? Drago does look down and out here. My computer makes a very loud noise and goes to a different screen. That's not good. 2. And no, Drago kicked out again. That's insane. How is Drago still in this one? We've had this before though with a recent random match where one guy dominated the match and absolutely destroyed the other one. Hit several finisher maneuvers and all that sort of stuff, and then it just took one move like that and the other guy picked up the victory, and that could be exactly what's going to happen here. And it is Drago out of nowhere launches Chavo into the air, brings him down into a code breaker and picks up the victory. Great resilience shown by Drago to continue on and to take all the damage that Chavo had sent his direction, and then to come back and manage to pick up the win in the match as well. That was just an incredible resilience shown by Drago. But we know from season 1 of Lucha Underground especially, that's one of Drago's main strengths, is just his resilience. I don't know how he kicked out of some of these. The trio of suplexes. Then again, if Chavo had pinned him a little bit quicker, then he might have got the victory there. He was very, very slow and laboured in that situation. Like I That was only enough for a 2 count. And again here with the sit out front Death Valley driver. Again, it just took him a few extra seconds to get that pin. I don't know why, that's really starting to annoy me now. Is that when people use a high impact move like that, for some reason they always take 2 steps backwards before walking forward to make the pin. I don't know why. And there you see Drago just launching Chavo up into the air and catching him with, of course, the code breaker. And a great win for Drago. He's going to take the win and the momentum into the feud that begins next week, of course, between Drago and Chavo Guerrero. It's going to be an interesting one, this one. Looking forward to it. And here's our main event this evening. 2 of the big men here from Lucha Underground clashing. It's Big Rick and Cage. And here we go. Now I must admit, this must be the first time I've actually used this Big Rick core, so I'm hoping it's no problems with it. It does actually look pretty good. It is actually a really good core, I must say. And why? I don't understand why, but it seems to be cutting a lot of names out, this the game at the moment. It's only showing the first name for quite a lot of people. I thought it was just the way that somebody had created. I just realised it's happened on nearly every single person tonight. They're all getting their first name. Let's see what happens with Brian Cage. If Brian Cage comes out as just Brian, that might prove our point. I don't know. We'll have to look when Brian Cage comes out. But this is going to be a hell of a match, this one. 2 big people, 2 big guys colliding, and 2 guys that I think may be involved in the Lucha Underground Championship match next week as well. So it'd be great for one of these 2 guys to really get some momentum and just to get a psychic advantage over their opponent. Their opponent going into that match knowing they can be beaten, knowing they had been beaten by this guy. And here comes the machine. That is Brian Cage. Of course, Cage is going to be heavily used everywhere. Yep, there we go. For some reason, the game has decided to cut out second names, which is always helpful. Yeah, so here comes Brian. Good old Brian. Yeah, Cage is going to be used in quite a few places. Of course, we'll use him in PWG. He does consistently work for PWG as well, so he'll definitely be over there. I have got him penned in for a couple of big matches, I believe, over this weekend. Let's have a quick look. I think I've got him penned in for a big Fatal 4 match. Or have I? No, I haven't. I've got him penned in for a couple of tag team matches, actually. Yeah, have to see what happens with that one. Of course, tag team alongside Michael Elgin as the Unbreakable Effing Machines. Let's see what happens there. Maybe we could bring Elgin into Lucha Underground at some point. Just maybe Cage needs a bit of backup and Michael Elgin turns up. It's a possibility, certainly something we can think of doing. The roster I've got here for Lucha Underground isn't massive, but then the roster in real life isn't that big either, really. We can obviously just adapt things. Brian Cage, very early on, hits the dive, and wow, what a start to this match already. I didn't realise you could do that. I thought the dives were an OMG moment. So unless Cage has started this match with a finisher manoeuvre. And there's that reverse Bloody Sunday as well, and Brian Cage has just come absolutely storming out of the blocks in this match, and Big Rick looks in trouble until he does that, of course. Where did Brian Cage get the dive from? Then the reverse Bloody Sunday as well. That's incredible. Referee up to a 5 count as Big Rick slides back in to break the pin. Both guys back in the ring now. Now Big Rick is also going to be part of our tag team division. He's going to be alongside the Mack, or of course Willie Mack. Those 2 in Lucha Underground have been playing cousins, so I've kept them together as a tag team. Not quite sure if we are going to keep them as a... I think we're going to have to, actually. I was thinking maybe putting Killshot in there, but I've got Killshot aligned alongside King Cuerno at the moment as the tag team Los Cazadores, or the Hunters if you're English. And then of course we've got the Sky Blondes, Jack Evans and Angelico. So I need to probably try and develop another one or two teams. I'm thinking maybe Bengala and Aerostar can team together. Two guys that are just be effective together, I suppose. Son of Havoc, we do have him on here, but with Angelico being in with Jack Evans, I need to try and think of a partner we could use for Son of Havoc. Or if we just have Havoc as a single star, that's a possibility as well. Brian Cage showing his strength there, just launching Big Rick up into the air. Now in for the pin he goes. For a 2 count. Of course, Big Rick was in WWE as Ezekiel Jackson. Had some problems with injuries over his time, and eventually WWE, I think, got frustrated and released him. So it's good to see him really developing himself. I don't think he works that many indies, really, Big Rick. I think he works Lucha Underground. Apart from that, I think he does a lot on big pop-up powerbomb there by Brian Cage. He's got so much strength, this guy. Oh my God, he's picked up a massive victory here in absolutely no time at all. He's demolished Big Rick. Wow. Wow. That's stunning. The speed of Brian Cage is in there. He's just launching Big Rick up into the air. Went for the pin from that. That was only enough for a 2 count. And you see him with that head scissors. Then brings... no, he drops a leg drop onto Big Rick there as well. Brings Rick back up to his feet. And then just launches him up into the air into that pop-up powerbomb. Falls straight into the pin. Referee was slowed down, but that was enough to keep Big Rick down. And Brian Cage just showing he is an effing machine. Mr. GMSI is going to take this huge victory into next week, as we are going to crown our first Lucha Underground champion next week in theory. I can't see any reason why not. And with guys like PJ Black and Brian Cage putting on some fantastic performances, you'd have to put those two down as a couple of the favourites. But of course, remember, we do have Prince Puma, we do have Mil Muertes, we have Phoenix, we have Texano. So we've got some pretty big names in there, and I'm pretty sure whoever is the champion is going to have to really fight and earn that championship. Well, anyway, guys, that is the end of this episode. I hope you have enjoyed our first dabble into Lucha Underground here in our universe mode. I've quite liked it. We've had some pretty good matches on the go, actually. Some pretty good feuds. A lot of potential for the future. If the game could just stop glitching, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But I think once we get our champions crown, it should be okay, because I think that is the problem. I think because I've got the champions as other people at the moment, because you can't have a vacant championship, you have to have the championship allocated to someone. So I've got the championship allocated to someone who's not on the roster, which I think is what's causing the problem. So as soon as we get our champions crowned, the game should become a bit smoother, I believe. And of course, if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. It does help me out a lot. And of course, subscribe for a lot more of this universe mode. Like I said, it's going to be a much smaller schedule. Now we're going to have just an episode of Ring of Honor and an episode of Lucha Underground every week. And then we'll have an indie pay-per-view over a weekend. This weekend is going to be Pro Wrestling Guerrillas at Lemmy and Bowie. So yeah, be sure to check that one out as well. I've been Chavo Gamer. Thank you very much for watching. And I will see you all on Saturday night for